Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of qualitative and quantitative approaches. Before that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Karedia Tandrimai Suari with the student ID 211202145. And my friends,
My name is Komang Kurnia Oktadela Putri with student number 211202105 and my friend.
Well, my name is Ida Alexandra Tisnawati with student number 211202105.
and we're going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses from both of the approaches. All right, first material is about the strengths and also the examples of qualitative approach. The first strength is view of homogeneous exploration. This term refers to the idea of exploring a particular area or topic in a consistent way. In other words, it suggests that when trying to discover something, it is best to approach it with a consistent method, which is the data collection method. For an example, if you're trying to explore a new city, you might decide to walk around and examine each neighborhood in a systemic way, rather than randomly jumping from place to place. Similarly, if you're conducting a research project, you might choose to use a consistent methodology throughout in order to ensure that your findings are reliable and valid. The second strength is raise more issues through broad and open-ended inquiry. Means that when you're trying to investigate a topic or understand a situation, you should ask questions that are open-ended and not limited to a specific answer. This allows for a wider range of ideas and perspectives to be considered, which can lead to a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. By asking broad and open-ended questions, uncovering new issues or ideas that you might not have thought before, and this can help you explore the topic more fully. For an example is instead of asking a closed-ended question like who won World War One, which only has one correct answer, you could ask a broad and open-ended question. World War One. This question allows for a wide range of answers and perspectives, as there were many factors that led to the World War and its aftermath. By asking this type of question, you may discover new issues to explore, such as the economic, political, and social reasons for the war, as well as the impact on different groups of people. The last but not least is understanding behaviors of values, beliefs, and assumptions. Qualitative research is a type of research that seeks to understand people's experiences, behaviors, and perspective through open-ended and exploratory methods. One of the strengths of qualitative research is that it allows researchers to gain a deeper understanding of how people's value, belief, and assumption influence their behavior. By using methods such as interviews, focus group, and observation, qualitative researchers can uncover the underlying motivation and thought process behind people's action. For the example is conducting interviews with people who have experienced a particular health condition to understand how their beliefs and values influence their decision to seek medical treatment. By understanding these behaviors, the researcher can gain a more comprehensive understanding of the topic, which can inform the development of more effective intervention and policing. Next slide, please. And now we're going to talk about the weaknesses and also the examples of qualitative approach. The first one is no objectively verifiable result. Means that there may not be a clear or definitive answer to a research question, as the outcome may influenced by multiple subjective factors such as individual experiences, perspectives, and interpretation. For the example is a qualitative study on the impact of social media on uh, mental health may not produce an objectively verifiable result because mental health is a subjective experience that can be influenced by a variety of individual factors. The study may uncover different perspectives and experiences of social media use and also mental health. But it may not produce a definitive conclusion that is objectively verifiable. Um, the second one is skillful requirement for interviews. In qualitative research, a skillful requirement for interviews refers to specific abilities and qualities that are needed by the researchers who conduct interviews as part of their data collection process. These requirements may include having good communication skill, being able to build rapport with participants, being able to ask open-ended questions, being able to listen actively with empathy, and being able to probe deeper into participants' responses to gain a better understanding of their experiences and perspectives. For the example is conducting research that related to your language research to language register in lower class. As part of your data collection, you need to plan in-depth interviews with a sample of people from lower class backgrounds. To get good data, you need to be able to ask open-ended questions and also good communication skill. The last but not least is time consuming during interviewing process and intensive categorizing process. Means that it takes a lot of time and effort to conduct interviews with participants and then analyze the data collected from those interviews. During the interviewing process, the researcher needs to spend a considerable amount of time to establish rapport with the participants, ask open-ended questions, and record their responses accurately. This process can be time-consuming, especially if the researcher is trying to collect a lot of data from many participants. For example, is interviewing more than 15 respondents to get broad data. Let's say you are conducting a qualitative research study on the experiences of college students. To collect data, you decide to conduct who have experience online learning during the pandemic. Each interview takes about an hour to conduct, so you will spend I think more than 20 hours conducting interviews. That's it from me. For the next material will be explained by Dayu. Time is yours.
So, right, thank you, Dia. So, the next material will read by me about the strength of quantitative approach. So, the first strength is useful for large sampling size, whereas in quantitative approach, use of statistical techniques facilitates sophisticated analysis. So, it allows us to comprehend a huge amount of vital characteristics of data. For the example, could be in the field of public health. Let's say researchers want to investigate the prevalence of certain disease in a specific population. So by collecting that data from a large sample size, the researchers can obtain a more accurate representation of the prevalence of the disease in the population. So if the researchers only collect data from a small sample size, there may be some variability in the data that does not accurately reflect the population as a whole. On the other hand, a large sample size can help to ensure that data collected is representative of the population and less prone to bias or error. And for the second, most reliable and valid way of concluding results. Because of bigger number of the sample of population make the result or generalization are more reliable and valid. For the example, if a researchers want to test the hypothesis that there is a relationship between a person's level of education and their income, they might collect data from a sample of individuals and use statistical methods. So by using statistical tests to analyze the data and use large sampling data, the researchers can make a conclusion about the relationship between education and income that is based on quantifiable and objective analysis of data. And for the last is easy to implement the researchers with survey or questionnaire, where the quantitative approach are relatively faster to collect research data, where the numerical of data can be analyzed in a quick and easy way. How? By employing statistically valid random models, and finding can be generalized to the population about which information is necessary and can be using survey or questionnaire. For the example, it's easy to implement because if using survey, it only requires respondents to choose a number on a scale, and the result can be easily analyzed using statistical software. Where it's easy to implement because it only requires a respondent to choose a number on a scale. So that's all the material from me. The next material will read by my friend Della. So Della, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dayu, for the time that given to me. So for the next material is about weaknesses of quantitative approach. So number one is requires a large number of respondents. So because it is assumed that the large sample is the more statistically accurate the findings are. If the sample used is small in number, so the quantitative approach cannot be used. For the example, we are going to study about the prevalence of mental health disorders in a large population. If you receive a large number of responses, you will have a statistically significant sample size, and analyzing can be challenging because researchers may need to use specialist software tools. Number two is data from questionnaire may be incomplete and inaccurate. It is because there are some respondents who are just guessing in answering the instrument, so the researcher must be serious and look out on the respondent who just guessing the answer. So for the example, we are going to study of the relationship between sleep quality and academic performance in college students using a structured survey instrument. So the participant may not accurately report their sleep habits because they don't remember or they want to present themselves in favorable light. And number three, researcher theory and hypothesis might not reflect real phenomena. So for the example, the hypothesis is the amount of time people spend reading books is negatively correlated with their level of education. So it is contradicts with the studies that show higher level of education are associated with greater engagement in reading, not less. So that's all material from me. For the next, I give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dayu and Dela, for the explanation. That was very great explanation. I really appreciate that. And that's it from us. Thank you for the attention and goodbye.